Nisi have just launched the latest iteration of the very popular 100mm square filter system, the V7. Like its predecessors before it, the V6 and the V5 Pro, the V7 is made from aircraft-grade aluminium, which is both durable and light, and finished in a matte black, hard anodized finish. Similar to the V6, it has the hexagonal shape that makes inserting 100mm square filters really easy, and it still has the same pressure guide rails on the edges to hold the filters in place. The Nisi filter system, incidentally, is fairly unique in the fact that it uses pressure rails on the outside which hold the edges of the filter, unlike a lot of the other filters on the market which hold the front and back of the filter and potentially bring about the possibility of scratching the edges of the glass. The big changes to the V7 though are the new locking ring and the completely new mounting system for the circular polarizer. Nisi first introduced this particular locking ring with its 150mm square S6 filter holder, and it's vastly improved over the earlier V6. The V6 mounting system had two pins, a single pin for attaching and removing the holder from the master adapter, and a locking pin, which could potentially be over-tightened by users who are new to the system. The confusion that arose between these two pins basically meant that Nisi have improved the double pin system by combining both of those features in one simple to use pin. The new V7 has a single pull-out pin to attach and lock the holder in place, and then a simple rotating wheel which would then lock that pin so that the filter is both locked in place, cannot rotate, and also cannot accidentally be removed from the master adapter. It's a simple and elegant solution that's a lot easier to use than the V6's locking pin. The big ticket item though is the new polarizer. Using new polarizing technology, Nisi have managed to remove the color cast from the polarizer entirely so as to produce a completely neutral circular polarizer. Prior to this, polarizers tended to have a slight color cast to them. Nisi improved on the industry standard by introducing the landscape circular polarizer, which had a slight cooling cast to it and would give more natural colors in white water, for instance, and in the clouds and sky. However, it was still not exactly neutral. But Nisi have also improved on the actual mounting of the polarizer as well. Earlier iterations of the polarizer were super slim with this very, very fine thread on them. This was a little tricky to attach to the master adapter, particularly if you weren't used to the system. It was a compromise that myself and many other photographers around the world were happy to make because Nisi's system allowed us to put a polarizer between the lens and any neutral density filters that were going to go in front of it. To us, this was a game changer, and it was worth the compromise of the very thin threads. Nisi listened to their customers though, and have now introduced a new bayonet mounting system onto the polarizer. All you have to do is line up the 3 marks on the polarizer with the 3 marks on the master adapter, turn clockwise, and it's in. This is infinitely easier and simpler to put onto your adapter than the older thread system. The new V7 standard kit comes complete with 3 threaded adapters for the master adapter, meaning that you have attachments for 67, 72 and 77mm lenses, and the master adapter also has an 82mm thread on it. The kit includes the neutral polarizer, the holder itself, a soft pouch bag, as well as a very useful lens cap, which means that you can leave the rig attached to your camera and put it away in your camera bag, even with the polarizer still attached. To attach your filter holder to your lens, first select a filter thread adapter for the lens that you're going to be using. This is a 24mm lens with a 72mm filter thread, so I'm going to take a 72mm thread adapter and attach it to my master adapter. Once it's on, I can then attach this to the lens itself. Bear in mind that you can also attach the filter thread adapter first, and that certainly avoids over-tightening any threads. I find though personally it's a little easier in the field having the filter thread adapter attached to the master adapter first. Once your master adapter is on, if you want to, you can attach your circular polarizer, hold the rotation wheel for the polarizer, line up your markings and turn clockwise. And there we go, we've got the filter on. To attach the filter holder itself, look for the two tabs at the back of the holder itself. Come from behind the master adapter at an angle so that you can hook those tabs over the rim of the master adapter. Pull back while pulling on the locking pin and release the locking pin and you're in. It's attached. Now if you want to tighten that fully so that the holder won't rotate and cannot fall off, all you do is you tighten the lock-in screw and that's it. Your filter holder is now attached and secure. If you would like to attach further filters, all you do is you select your filter. Over here I've got a neutral density 3-stop filter. You'll notice that the solid neutral densities all have a rubber gasket on the back of this. So you make sure that that gasket is facing the camera itself. Okay, we're going to slide the neutral density filter in. It is a better practice to always use the solid neutral densities first and then add neutral density grads later, simply because of that gasket. Right, if I want to attach a graduated filter, it's the same thing. You line it up with your guide rail and push in, and then you would look through your viewfinder or the live view in order to work out where you want to place your actual horizon line for the filter itself. That's it, really simple. If you enjoy shooting landscapes, and in particular you enjoy doing long exposure photography, the square filter system is really the simplest and most efficient way in which to control the light entering the lens and onto the sensor of the camera. Yes, there are ways that you can combine photographs in post-production in order to better balance the dynamic range of a scene, but this does require multiple photographs which then have to be blended. I personally prefer shooting an image so that I can get as much as possible right in camera and have to spend less time behind a computer. If you're like me and you prefer getting things right in camera, graduated neutral density filters are pretty much the only way to go in order to be able to capture that extended dynamic range of a scene, so the highlights in the sky, the shadows in the foreground, on one frame. The square filter system also allows you to stack filters if you want to, so you can have a circular polarizer, a neutral density, and a graduated filter. If you try and do that with a circular filter system, you're more than likely going to have vignetting on the edges of the photograph, as the edges of the frame are going to catch the edges of the actual filters themselves. The square filter system, on the other hand, is designed so that you can use a 16mm full frame lens and still be able to get completely clear corners without any vignetting whatsoever. There are even some ultra-wide lenses like the Laowa 12mm, which have been designed specifically to be able to accept the 100mm square filter system. And in fact, Nisi have an adapter specifically built for that Laowa lens. The V7 is basically a refined tool for photographers who are looking to capture the best possible image quality when they're out shooting their landscapes. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing. You can pop a like in the bottom right-hand corner. If you want to get to see and play with some filters personally, I do run several workshops in the KZN area. You can also drop into the studio at any time, just give us a ring, obviously. You can purchase the filters from Nature's Light as well as from Landscape Gear in South Africa. There are a few other retailers as well, and I'm always happy to answer any questions if you would like to know more about the Nisi filters. Thanks very much for watching. I hope to see you again in future. Cheers.